Thanks for joining us on Knuckleball Prime Time. I'm Chad Speakar, and great to be joined by the new head coach for the Mineral Area College men's basketball team, Tony Irons. And all this guy does is just wins. Like everywhere you've been, everything you've done, you just win. State champion point guard at Lutheran North, a point guard winning a national championship at College of the Ozarks, seven state championships coaching Vashon. So first question, like for you, what are winning habits?
I just think it's just a process. Obviously winning is something that, I mean, you have to learn through experiences on what it takes. I think sacrifice is one of the main things. You have to, I think in order to be good at anything, you have to sacrifice something. So whether that's time with your family sometimes because you're in the gym, or you sacrifice sometimes money for things, but sacrifices is one thing I would say. Another would be just have to have a level of dedication to something. Obviously, everyone wants to win, but is everyone willing to put the time in and do the things that it takes to win? And the other thing is you have to, honestly, you got to have really good people around you and good players and stuff like that too. So I've been fortunate just as a player to, I wasn't, blessed with a bunch of God-given ability, but at the same time, I worked hard. I stayed in the gym. I love the game. So I thought that, I found a niche and as a player, and I kind of maximized my ability level. So that. And then as a coach, it's just been, again, just trying to be a sponge, trying to continue to learn as much as I possibly can. And then just don't look at, losses as, what they are, look at them as experiences and use those things to kind of shape moving forward, what would happen next.
You've become a legendary coach yourself, but your dad, Floyd, was a legendary coach. So you were a coach's kid of a very successful coach. Did you always kind of have that coach's kid mentality too? You always thought the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I can just remember just being a kid and just being around his gym and just watching practices and interacting with players, and just I used to get yelled at for bouncing the ball during practice, but just always just been around the game and been around the gym, and and there's probably some things that I learned just kind of just being around,
soaking it up.
Yeah, not even knowing that I was actually, gaining some of the knowledge, but just being around it. And but yeah, I'm very fortunate to be able to have somebody like him that I could, kind of pick his brain, bounce ideas off of, all of that. When I first started coaching, he would be in the stands yelling at me. So obviously as I got more experience and stuff like that, a lot of that kind of tailored off a little bit. But yeah, that's, I definitely was somebody who paid a lot of attention to a lot of the things that he did.
Were you always headed that direction? Did you always kind of know I'm gonna be a coach?
Nah,
too?
not at all. No, not at all. What's funny is I actually wanted to. So when I went to college, I wanted to major in mass communications, and
there you go.
Yeah, and my mom, she kind of steered me into the education, an education degree. She said, you might as well get into education because they're always going to need teachers, and you always have a job. And both of my parents were educators, so it was almost like it was like decided for me to a degree. And when I got to be a junior in college, I actually started coaching an intramural team, a women's intramural team. And the only reason I did it was because there was a girl that I thought was cute on the team, and I actually just wanted to be around it. But so that's when I first got an idea that I wanted to stay around basketball, and basketball, when it stops bouncing, I couldn't really see myself doing anything else but kind of trying to be around it. So coaching was kind of like a natural segue, but always wanted to coach in college. Didn't even really want to coach in high school.
Really?
Yeah. I tried to stay away from it as close as possible. I ended up, so I stayed on at College of the Ozarks for a couple of years while I was in grad school. And one of my grad school professors was a principal had just gotten a principal's job at my first job and at a high school. And she asked me would I be interested in being a coach there. And that's how I ended up getting, because I needed some money in my pocket. So that's why I ended up actually
girls and money. There we go.
Being a high school coach, but like I had every inkling of wanting to stay in college, like wanted to hang around College of the Ozarks a little bit and see if that would catapult me to something else or whatever it was. But it was never to really be a high school coach. And then I also didn't really want to follow on my dad's shoes because I thought there was going to be too big shoes, too big
shadow,
shoes,
right?
to fill. So.
But then it all works out, and you do end up going to the high school, and you rattle off 7 state championships of Sean, and now an opportunity with Mineral Area College.
Yeah.
So as you are having all the success with Sean, I'm sure there are other opportunities, that come your way. Why Mineral Area College?
I mean, honestly, I just, I've been familiar with Mineral Area as far as like I've had friends that have played here.
Mm-hmm.
I've also I've known Corey Tate almost like my entire life, and just seeing his success and how his career is shaped and all of those things. And again, like just an opportunity to be a head coach in college was something that kind of intrigued me a little bit too. I think junior college basketball is like a pure level of basketball still. It's not, saturated with a bunch of NIL and all of that. I know it may be moving in that direction at some point, but like you still have guys that are still trying to figure things out, get to the next level, all of that. So even though it's not, it's a step up and it's a difference from high school, like it still has kind of a, that type of a vibe to it too still, because you still have guys that are still learning how to play, still trying to figure things out, and then still trying to figure out what's next too. So you're not really dealing with adults per se, but you're dealing with young men that are, on the verge of being adults and on the verge of still trying to figure those things out. So I felt like that would be intriguing. And then also just from what I've heard from, just the community support and just, Mineral Area has always been a name where a lot of people have always talked about, just what basketball means to the, to the school and everybody. It was something that intrigued me.
Your reputation must precede you too, even nationally. You just have a few guys back off of a successful team from last year at Mineral Area College, but you guys are preseason ranked number 21. So how's that feel?
I mean, I don't know if I agree with it yet. Obviously,
see, right?
yeah. I don't know if but I would say like I think that's more of a testament to just the reputation that Mineral Area has. And I think that we've done a good job of trying to put together a team that we feel like could be competitive. And I think also it's maybe some people that have thought that we had some potential when they saw us at some of the jamborees and things like that. So I think it's a combination of all those different things all into one. It definitely puts a target on your back early on, but at the same time, like it also shows our guys that if they play the right way and work, and that certain things that they can pretty much compete with anyone.
We catch up with Coach Irons just a couple of days before the season opener, and we'll get into that here in just a moment. But you mentioned the jamborees. How did you feel about the way your team performed and looked there?
Yeah, I actually thought we did better than what I had anticipated. The first one we didn't do great because that was actually, one, it was my first opportunity with them and at this level. Two, it was their first time playing together. And we played some really good competition as well. So, I think it was more so like a filling out moment for all of us to just kind of like, just to see where we stood up against other teams. And then, and again, we just use it as a learning curve. And I thought we performed at the next one, like even like better. And we used some of the things that we learned in the first one, and we applied it to the second one. And then the third one, I thought we played really, really well. So I think we improved every session.
What do you feel like this team will do well for you this year?
I think our biggest strength right now is the fact that we have really, really good chemistry. And I think we're trying to figure out how to establish a culture of playing for each other. All of our guys, like, it's refreshing because every last one of them actually likes the other one, right? So we don't have anyone that has any We haven't really had to deal with any like issues as far as like personalities conflicting, any of that stuff. They all work really, really hard. They like being in the gym. And then, obviously it's just really just trying to put a philosophy in that they understand, buying into it. But I think we're versatile. I think we're athletic. I think that we have, I don't know if we have per se a person that can go out and get us 30 a night or something like that. But I think we have a lot of guys that can contribute at a high level, and that will make, for a really, really good team. And I think that's what our strengths are right now.
When people come out to the Bob this year, what type of team will they see?
So we wanna play fast. Obviously, we want to get after you defensively. We want to, offensively, we want to have the ball moving and utilize our athletic ability to make plays. And so I would say it's going to be entertaining. We're going to get after people. And I think hopefully you're going to see some dunks and things of that nature. But again, I think we also have the type of team that can be like really one of the better defensive teams in our region. So, but again, that's going to take a lot of time and it's going to take a lot of experience. But I think that's who we can be, is someone that can really hopefully impose our will defensively and use our defense to kind of create offensive opportunities for ourselves.
When I heard that you were coming to take over the head coaching position at Mineral Area College, I thought, oh, okay, this roster is going to be loaded with St. Louis guys up and down the roster. It's not really that way. You only have 3 guys out of St. Louis on the roster. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about the importance that you place in local recruiting too, because I counted 6 guys from Southeast Missouri on the roster.
For sure. I thought, again, I think we were fortunate to be able to get some of the guys that we got. Obviously, we want to be able to be as diverse and with different areas and all of that. As far as having guys from different regions and all of that stuff too, we want to be able to recruit the Midwest pretty hard. But I also think that it's important too to get guys that really want to be here also, if that makes sense. So a lot of the guys that we got are guys that are very familiar with this program, that wanted to be here, that like for instance, like Marcellus Phillips, like he came to our camp. He drove 2.5 hours from New Madrid, bought a hotel room just to work out to try to get a scholarship.
That makes an impression.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, and he's a good player. So like things like that, I think, that holds a lot of weight in my eyes, because again, like when we talked about winning and we're talking about one of the things I said was like sacrificing. Like that's a sacrifice to want to be a part of this. So, I thought, in the recruiting process, one of the things we wanted to really hammer and wanted to make sure we did was get guys that were good kids, but at the same time wanted to be here. And that's what I feel like that we did. So, getting some local guys that have some talent that wanted to be a part of it, like I thought it was a no-brainer.
I really like your schedule a lot, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But I want to go back a few years, actually, kind of leading into that, because for all the championships that you won at Vashon, and the St. Louis fans and the Vashon fans love that, one of the things that I love that you did one year, as much as anything, is that you went and played a little team called South Iron.
For sure.
One year. That was the COVID year.
Yep.
And people might think Vashon is a powerhouse. They're a dynasty. They're a big school. They run over people. They have pros come through that program sometimes. And South Iron's this little Class 1 public school, right? What's there to gain? Well, the reality is, I'm guessing, but you'll tell me, you just want to play good teams.
For sure.
They were an outstanding team that year.
Absolutely. And well coached, talented. And we also knew that they had an opportunity to win state as well. So,
which they did and you did.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I remember actually talking to their team after we played them, and I just kind of praised them for how hard they played, and pretty much told them, like, if we don't see you guys at state, then one of us should be ashamed of ourselves, right? So, but that was just kudos to them too, just also being willing to come and play, because they easily could have said no. But like you said, like when we create a schedule, we not only want to just create a schedule with the best competition that we can find, but we also want, because there's things that we learn when we play other teams too. And hopefully they learn some things from us as well and learn a little bit more about themselves. But like when you're talking about like championship cultures and things like that, like when we go play teams, like that's one of the things I'm looking at is, are there things that I can pick up on, steal, and apply to our situation? And you know, and they were no exception to that too, and there's a reason why they've had the success that they've had.
Yeah. And you took care of them that day. You did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
But I was really happy that you guys played them. I thought that was great. So let's get back to the present now. As you will start the season, you'll actually play at Poplar Bluff. Correct. Three Rivers has a shootout down there to start things, and you'll go against John A. Logan. Now, John A. Logan was about 500 last year, but the year before that,
they're talented.
They won the national championship. Yeah. It's a great program, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you take a look at your schedule, you got Vincennes on the schedule. They're ranked 18th preseason. You've got Barton County on the schedule. They're ranked number 2 preseason. Then you've got Pratt. Anytime you get into the Jayhawk Conference, when you're talking about JUCO basketball, that's good stuff.
For sure.
You've got Wabash. You've got Olney. I love the fact that you have beefed the schedule up and you're going to go play a bunch of great teams. I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And the goal of that obviously is to continue to get better, you know, every game. But we want to be playing our best basketball when our conference hits. And the only way you do that is to beef up the non-conference and to make sure that you're playing teams that are going to challenge you and make sure that, you know, again, like this is going to be a long process. And so it's going to be filled with ups and downs. There's going to be some times where we're going to probably look at this schedule and say, what were we thinking in spots? But at the same time, it's going to, I'm real big on making sure that we have, you know, an actual idea of who we are, though. So sometimes you can make something cupcake, and then you'll have a false sense of how good you really are. So I think with our schedule, like we'll know exactly where we are and what type of team we are too.
Do you have goals that you talk to the team about already, or are you more of a process oriented?
Yeah, I'm more process oriented than anything. Just telling them like if we play our best basketball and if we just approach things daily, then, you know, whatever, you know, the games and, you know, whatever the end goal is, it'll end up taking care of itself. But like it all depends on the work that we put in. So, you know, I don't want to say, hey, our goal is to win a championship at this level or whatever the case may be. Our goal is just to get the most out of them and to help them get better. And then as they get better, our team gets better. And as our team gets better, then we reach successful milestones.
Coach, I've never met you before, but always known you by reputation, you know, and some of the great things that you've done in your coaching career and playing days, by the way. But let's let fans get to know you a little bit as a person. Tell us a little bit about your family.
So I'm married. My wife, she's actually she's an assistant superintendent in St. Louis. So that's part of the reason with the commute right now. No kids. My dad and mom are both living, both retired.
Does your dad still tell you how to coach?
Nah, not as much anymore. Now those things become debates now, right? Because, you know, like at one point in time, like there were things that he could say, and now there's things that I can say, right? So now, you know, we have those little friendly debates. But other than that, yeah, like I'm really, really, really big on family. I spend a lot of time, so I don't really do much. Like it's basketball, or I'm a show buff. I like to really watch like a lot of different shows and movies and things like that. But other than that, like, you know, I'm a homebound person, and I just hang around my family for the most part.
Outside of basketball, what's your favorite sport?
Probably football.
Football, yeah.
I don't have a team now.
I had to say, who's your team?
St. Louis Rams. That was my team. But when they left,
we got the Kurt Warner Sports Illustrated cover up there.
Absolutely. Yeah. The St. Louis Rams. You know, like I guess it's blasphemy to say that you kind of like the Chiefs if you like the Rams at the time, but you know, I do respect what the Chiefs do. Yeah. You know, because again, you don't win at that level without, you know, being, you know, having a great culture and a great program, and you know they probably have the best one right now in the NFL.
You have your favorite basketball teams?
Yeah, I'm a Laker fan.
Laker fan?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the way through.
When I was this might have been before you were growing up. When I was growing up, it was either Magic or Bird. you either love the Lakers or you love the Celtics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was a Lakers guy because my favorite play in basketball is an assist, a great assist.
Mine too.
And that was magic all day.
For sure.
So I was a Lakers guy too.
Yeah.
So, but it's hard, man. It's hard not to love what Steph Curry does nowadays.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Yeah.
big on him too.
I'm big on him as well.
Okay, so if the pregame playlist is designed only by Tony Irons.
Oh man, they're not going to like it.
What's on the playlist?
A whole bunch of different things. I guess I can, some of the new stuff that they like to listen to. Some of it's not bad, but like Jay-Z is my favorite performer. Yeah, by far. I got an opportunity to see him one time in Dallas. Like if he goes back on tour, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
I'm like a fanatic a little bit, so I would say Jay-Z would be like up and down through it. Michael Jackson. Yeah, man, he's a legend. I think he's probably the greatest performer of all time. Me and my wife were just talking about like Whitney Houston. I think she probably has the best voice of all time.
Good stuff.
So I got some. It's a lot of different things.
You're gonna take him back a few years.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of stuff.
Okay.
So I mean, it can go in a lot of different directions.
All right. So best pregame meal then. Picking the best pregame meal. What are you having?
I would probably say like spaghetti.
All right.
Something like that.
Some level spaghetti is always the best.
Some level,
right?
some level of a pasta, something like that.
All right. So we get to the end of your first season coaching the Mineral Area College Cardinals, and you look back on it, and a fan comes up to you and says, "Coach Irons, I loved watching your team this year because." What do you want to hear?
Because they played hard. I think that's as a coach, the biggest compliment that you can get is that your kids play super hard, or unselfish, or disciplined. I think those things are like kind of, if you have those things going on, I think you're in the right situation. Your talent is going to waver year to year. Like, sometimes you can kind of, not evaluate it correctly. You might think you have more talent than what you really have or less than what you might have. But I think effort and I think like intangible things are things that are controllables. And if you have those things, then I think you have a good situation going.
All right. Starts Friday, Saturday, down at Three Rivers. Make the little trip down there.
Yep.
First home game's the 15th, right?
Yep,
Against Pratt.
Yep.
So invite folks out to the Bob to see your team.
I mean, we would love for you guys to come and check us out. Obviously, one of the reasons I'm here is because of the support that I've heard so much about, and and we just want to be able to make sure that we put a product on the floor that you all will be proud of. So definitely want you guys to come out and check us out. And again, we want our guys to be, as visible and as integral in the community as possible. And, we want you to feel like this is your team.
Coach, it was a pleasure. Nice meeting you. Thanks for coming on with us.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
It's Tony Irons, new head coach for Mineral Area College men's basketball. I'm Chad Speakar on Knuckleball Prime Time.